All right. In your top 10 risks for global businesses right now, you're saying geopolitical volatility, that's cracked the top 10 for the first time. But I want to get to number 4, regulatory and legislative changes. Is this shutdown, does that fit under that basket?
I think what you have to look at is that this is one of a series of things. You just saw a reshuffle in the UK that replaced the entire cabinet. You saw a new government in France. Now you're seeing a potential shutdown in the US. The shutdown in the US isn't going to change the way we operate on a day-to-day basis, and it's not as much of an upheaval in our government. But the point is, it's a series of government instabilities that can also drive other issues, supply chain, commodity pricing. A lot of these top 10 risks in the report that will be issued this week, they are either involved directly with government, legislative change, regulatory change, geopolitical risk, or they have a lot of dependence on government action, in commodity pricing, as I said, supply chain risk. So what you're seeing is an increase in risk generally. And companies need to be able to respond. I mean, this isn't slow pitch. You're not going to have time to recover after one of these risks comes to bear.
All right. I also want to amend what I said, potential shutdown. Even though the rhetoric's ramping up and it seems like we're on pace, it's still potential. We're counting down, hoping to avoid it. I think everybody's actually hoping to avoid it.
Agreed.
Now, an interesting statistic from you, only 14% of companies, they actually, you're saying only 14% of them track their exposure to these risks. What does that mean for practical business purposes? Does that mean, you mentioned supply chain risks, does that mean they don't have redundancies in the supply chain? Another issue here is cybersecurity and data breaches. Does that mean they don't have adequate cybersecurity protection? What does that mean in the real world for these companies?
This study is 3,000 business leaders across the world. Every single sector is represented, 62 countries. And when we asked them their greatest risks, these top 10 came to the fore. But you're exactly right. What it means is supply chain's a perfect example. So, in the financial crisis, we got a debt shock. We responded accordingly. In COVID, we got a supply chain shock. And what this is companies aren't looking at their second and third tier suppliers. In and around the pandemic, Aon came out with the supply chain risk analyzer. What it allowed you to do is, who do I get my goods and materials from now? Who do they get their things from? And what is their supply chain subject to? Is it geopolitical risk? Is it supply chain risk? And so they're not looking down the road at these issues. And in some ways, they're going in with a blind spot into these risks.
All right. Your number one risk for global businesses is a cyber attack or data breach. I got to be honest, I hadn't seen a lot of headlines about cyber attacks. Then I just happened to Google it, and I saw that Jaguar is facing an issue with a cyber attack that, according to the article, at least flashes a possible alarming sign for other manufacturing companies. When we're talking about cyber risk, what industries are most exposed? What industries are seeing the highest risk of this being a major issue?
Unfortunately, that answer is yes and. This cuts across the board. You see ransomware attacks, even on, they went after a preschool in the UK. This cuts across every aspect of the economy. AI can be a defense. Companies are using AI to better defend themselves, but AI is becoming more sophisticated from a cyber risk perspective. This is something we see with all of our clients, like digging into not just how your employees use your software, but how you're vulnerable to outsiders. And this is an issue where people are not spending enough time understanding those second and third degree risks.
All right. The article highlights manufacturing. In your mind, is there one sector that's especially exposed? Is it manufacturing, or do you see another sector or part of the markets or the economy especially at risk?
I think financial services and anyone that relies on a network is extremely at risk, because you are only able to survive when you are able to communicate in a complex global network. And so, I think that we're all exposed in a different way, and we're learning this the hard way.